You get the call that you're the Bengals' third-round draft pick. Emotionally, in your heart, what's going on?
Gratefulness, just blessed. Humility, like all the different types of emotions that, you try to have are all flowing at the same time, and you just feel blessed. I mean, that's really the only way to put it.
When you get drafted, you have no idea what team you're going to go to. Mm-hmm. You could be going on a team that's in playoff contention. You could go to a team that's coming off a 1-2 win season. You're coming to the Cincinnati Bengals with quarterback Joe Burrow, who you already said it's going to be an honor for you to guard. Mm-hmm. When you saw the situation you were walking into, when it all settled, what was your thoughts, your reaction?
It was awesome. Like, I was being with the guys that are in this locker room, and being with the coaches that are upstairs is a blessing. Like, it's a huge, huge, huge honor being picked by this franchise, I mean, I think that this franchise is on to huge things, and I'm super, super blessed to be able to inherit that, and so I'm looking forward to be able to contribute to that. Yeah.
Last year's first-round pick for the Bengals, Amarius Mims, former teammate. Mm-hmm. What's your relationship like with Amarius?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, me and him, he was a bright light in the room. He lightens up the room. He makes people laugh, in the O-line room. He gets the mood going. He gets the juices flowing for practice and for, just all the different things that go into being a football player. He's just a great guy to have in the room with you. So.
All right. Well, speaking of Amarius, I have to ask it. You have a nickname?
I do.
What is your nickname? Because I'm not going to make sure I want to make sure I don't mess this up. You tell me your nickname.
Pickle.
Why is your nickname Pickle?
I don't know. I think it's because of dill pickle, but we kind of we just kind of ran with it one day. Yeah.
And Amarius gave it to you?
I'm 99% sure. One day I just came in and he just screamed it out at me, and then Coach Searles liked it, and then everybody else liked it, so then we just took it all. We just ran with it.
So one day someone just screams Pickle and you turn your head?
I mean, I just walked into the room. It's me and him and, maybe a couple of other guys. I really don't even know how it fully started, but we, once it started, there was really no stopping it. It just kind of like went.
So are you a little worried that's going to come with you to the NFL?
I'm not worried. I mean, if it comes, it comes. If it stays, it stays. It is what it is. So we're just. I don't mind it. I don't dislike it. No, I do like it. Okay,
good. So hopefully it does come with you to the NFL. We were talking a little bit off camera. One of the things that the Bengals said they loved about you is that you were a wrestler. How does wrestling help you as an offensive lineman?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just the mentality, just having like a relentless mentality. Being in those fourth quarter battles, those long drives, I mean, it's a hard job. You gotta have that mindset, and having a wrestler's mindset is a benefit. If you're duking it out with somebody, you want to be able to go all four quarters, and that's huge. And then really the physical part of it is just being able to get into those awkward situations, those awkward movements, and feel comfortable in them.
How does that help you on the field, especially because when I think of wrestling, it's a team sport, but it's also an individual sport. Mm-hmm. And I know you have obviously other background besides just being a wrestler, but being in a team sport where the offensive line all has to work together, mm-hmm. but you're still in charge of your man, does your wrestling background help with that at all?
I mean, I think it does. I mean, there's different, there's dual matches in wrestling, and you're cheering on for these guys next to you. You're trying to win. I think just like the camaraderie of being in an offensive line takes over all of that, though. I mean, wrestling is an individual sport, and offensive line is a team. Well, football is a team sport, and being on an offensive line, you're a part of a unit. And so, to me, at this point in my life, like, I've found that being a part of a unit like that is much more gratifying. It gives me more gratification as a person being a part of, a unit with one mission, one goal, and then we accomplish that goal.
Which brings me talking about your love for the camaraderie of an offensive line. Mm-hmm. Why become an offensive lineman? Because it seems like such a thankless job. Why do you like it?
It's gritty, you know. You got to be tough. You got to be a hard-nosed person, and it takes what it takes. You know, you gotta lay it all on the line, and you got to be willing to sacrifice for those around you. You know, and I think there's nothing more beautiful in the game of football than that. So.
There's been so much talk over the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years about young athletes specializing in a single sport, being a multi-sport athlete. What's your take on what parents should be doing with their kids? If they like two sports, should they be allowed to play them, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think, one sport benefits the other all the time. I mean, you think baseball, hand-eye coordination, basketball. I know for O-line, basketball's great, just moving backwards, the footwork of it all, being able to have body control in, certain points. Football is just all around physical strength, being able to work as a unit, building those team skills, and then wrestling, the mentality, the awkward position. Yeah, I think it's awesome. Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Specifically with the Bengals, there's an open spot at guard. What's your mentality coming in, knowing that you were the third-round pick, but there's still going to be competition for that open guard spot?
Compete. Yeah. I think just put my best foot forward every single day, and just compete. I think that's just what I've grown up to do. That's what I've done at Georgia, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. This is a highly competitive league, so.
Have you heard from any of your teammates? I'm assuming you've heard from Amarius. Mm-hmm. Have you heard from any of your other new teammates?
Yeah, oh yeah. Joe's reached out. Yeah, there's been a couple guys that have reached out for sure, yeah.
What Joe Burrow had to say to you?
He just let me know that he's here for me if I need anything, and that he's excited to get to work, so.
Yeah, I mean, you have a very experienced offensive line, but it's obviously Amarius, but between Ted Karras and Orlando Brown Jr., it seems like these guys always take rookies underneath their wing. Are you a guy who looks for mentorship? Obviously I know you haven't been in an NFL locker room yet, but what's your kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there are guys that they're obviously doing it at a high level. So I just want to basically pick their brain, and apply whatever little things that I can to my game, and just elevate. I think that's really what I want to do here is just elevate all around, and just continue to get better. So I mean, yeah, of course, I'm looking to those guys.
Cincinnati is a unique city, being a smaller NFL market. The fans take beyond such an interest in the Bengals, the players. They want to know you as a person off the field. What's something, nothing to do with football, nothing to do with wrestling, that fans should know about you?
I love to fish. I love to be outside. One day I don't want like a full farm. I want like a little bit. I want like a little bit of a farm. I'm just try to be a good dude, and I love God. So.
What does your ideal farm look like? What are you growing? What kind of animals do you have?
Like squash, zucchini, all types of peppers, and then really just like chickens. Chickens, maybe. My wife wants a horse, but I don't really want to deal with a horse. But like she wants a horse, so we're probably gonna get a horse at some point.
Smart man.
Yeah, right. and then maybe a couple sheep or two, and then some goats.
Well, chickens are good for trading. I just think of Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed running around chasing the chickens around.
Train your footwork a little bit.
Exactly. Awesome, man. Congrats. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Yes, sir.
Wishing you all the best.